Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Strategy Game Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Shippey, and today we are continuing our series on seeing, knowing, and hearing ourselves and others. And at this point today, we're going to talk about why do we even need to bother to see, hear, and know ourselves and others. We all have people in our lives. So whether they realize it or not, they want to be seen, known, and heard. And so do we, if we think about it. And we can be a part of the solution. So every one of us has an opportunity every day to see, hear, and know the people around us. And so as I was thinking about this and I was writing this part of the book, I was just thinking about, why do we need to bother to put in the work? Because it does require work and extra intention and effort to see, hear, and know those around us. And there were a couple of thoughts that came to mind that I wanted to share with you. So the first is that it brings healing. And I actually think this is probably the most powerful reason why we should bother to do this work. Because it can bring healing to ourselves and it can bring healing to those around us. I've experienced this personally so much in my life. And throughout the years of having storywork, our tagline has always been define your story and make it matter. And now, as I've written the book, it all makes so much sense, even more sense, because I think when we understand our own selves, a part of that is understanding our story and where we came from and what makes us the way that we are. And we get to do the same for others. And I think when people feel recognized, it becomes a part of their healing process, whether they recognize it or not. Sometimes it's subconscious healing that's even taking place. We might be something to someone at some point in time that is part of their healing process just by recognizing them or seeing them right where they are. And so we don't have to be a therapist to do this work. Everybody can do it. Everyone can practice this. And that's the part about this framework that I love so much. And practicing this really leads us to be a part of healing old wounds in people without sometimes just us even planning on it. Can you think of a strained relationship in your life? And in that relationship, has some or all of that tension come from maybe the other person not feeling understood? And I think that's what led me to think about why this framework is needed to see, know, and hear others and ourselves. And so number one is just that it brings healing. Number two, it brings fulfillment. So as you go through life on the surface level, you might be okay. You might feel like you're doing just fine and you get up every day and you have your routine and you're satisfied and things are great. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you know that there's just more on a deeper level. Maybe you feel just really empty or restless at the soul level, like that restlessness where you know there's more, but you don't know how to get there to access it or what the next step might be. So I think doing this work can actually help you really understand what it is that makes you come alive and who you were always created to be. And I think when you can do this type of work, it can help you figure out your next steps in accordance with purpose. And our purpose can ebb and flow throughout life, like or let me say it a different way. So our assignment can change, but our purpose usually remains the same throughout our lives. If you think about it, you've probably been doing something similar on a deeper level for people related to who you are, right? Your whole life. And so really knowing what that is and then figuring out like what it looks like in each season brings a lot of fulfillment. And that comes from seeing and hearing and knowing yourself. So number three, it brings contentment. So if you can, maybe you could think about a time when you felt seen, known, or heard. Did you feel more resolved? Did you just feel like at peace or not like you had to strive or kind of muddle through to figure something out, but you could just rest, like you could just be where you are? That is the contentment that I'm talking about that comes from practicing this. And number 4, when we take the time to see, hear, and know people, it disarms them. So if there are spaces where you are continuously hitting walls, or relationships where you're continuously hitting the wall, you might try just stopping and pausing and thinking about what that person is ultimately seeking on a core level. And when you can speak to that, when you can start recognizing that in them, even in small ways, it might not be in something you say, it might be just your presence or how you act, they won't feel as much of a need to defend or protect their thoughts or ideas, because they feel like they have entered more into a safe space. The same is true in sales, right? So like this could be applied to business as well, not just personal relationships. So the more a brand can make people feel like they are not pushing something on them, but just truly convey genuine communication on how it will help people and why they need it. And if the people feel understood in that communication, they won't feel as much resistance to that sales process, right? So what we want to do is create safe spaces for people so that they can let down their guard, share the things on their mind. And when we're able to do this, they get to feel freedom that comes from this. And then both parties experience connection. So it's a win-win. Number 5, we're starved for connection. So I think in a world where we've got lots of fast communication, short one-liners or short posts that we're seeing and taking in on our feeds all day, we are not engaging in as much longer communication and conversation that really is literally life-changing. And as humans, we're really created, we're wired to thrive off of that type of connection. So when we have it ourselves, if we lead and we be the example and learn how to do this, then we can give it to others. And so from the overflow, then we can operate, right? And so whatever is in us spills out onto others at any given moment. And I was recently giving a talk and I was talking about how it could look like a splatter, or it can look like an overflow. Like a splatter is like the grease from the stove when it just splatters everywhere. Like we haven't had a chance to really communicate with others well, versus an overflow when we're full and we're in a healthy place and we communicate with others in a really healthy way. So those are a few reasons why we need to see, know, and hear each other. I hope that this encouraged you. As always, check out the show notes for more, and thanks so much for listening in.